and jobs and promises and just slipped away, the wind lofting me off to someplace new. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Another one of my faults. I'm sure you'll see them all for yourself before I'm finished, because I'm going to give you the whole unvarnished story, not the sanitized version. This is another friend's expression, and it was his idea, too. Gather it all up, he said. The old parts and the new parts. The parts you're proud of and the parts you're not, and put them all together in your book. It will be your gift to her, he said, and you will know the right time to give it. So that's what I've done. I've written all of it down just as I remember it, and as others have told me they remember. I've told the tale in total honesty, which, I have to admit, is a good quality of mine. I do have a few, I think, but that's up to you to decide. Anyway, you'll see. I'll tell you all about what happened, and then you can see for yourself whether or not I did the right thing. You're the only one who can really judge. I hope you'll do so tenderly, for I am now, and always will be, your Miranda. Eden took a deep breath and smiled, her joy spilling out from the edges of her too full heart. She supposed a part of her had always known, had always hoped. She wanted to get up and run to the phone, to the car, but instead she read the letter again, slower this time and with tears. And finally, when her heart had become calm and steady and she was ready to know the how and why, she turned the page and stepped into the story. Chapter 1. December 14th, 1995, Nashville, Tennessee. Wanda stifled a yawn. Ever since the hospital had gone to 10-hour shifts, she'd begun feeling her age. It crept up and settled in her back after a long day on her feet, especially on days like today. She felt another pang of sympathy for her patient. She was just a girl, not quite 16, barely past childhood herself, much too young to be having a baby. But she had. They'd whisked the newborn away so quickly Wanda had barely gotten a look at the child herself. They hadn't wanted Wanda's patient to hold her child or even look at it. They. Dr. Herbert and the baby's grandmother, who reminded Wanda somehow of the wicked stepmother in all the fairy tales she'd read. Oh, she was pleasant enough to look at with her red hair and heart-shaped face, but there was something to the narrowed eyes that gave Wanda a shiver, like feeling a cold hand clamped down on the back of her neck. The baby's being adopted, Dr. Herbert had said with that same pursed lip expression. It's been privately arranged. Emphasis on privately. Wanda thought that kind of secrecy had gone out in the 50s, but you didn't argue with Dr. Herbert. Not if you wanted to keep your job. Wanda had a sudden image of some rich socialite buying the baby from that horrible grandmother. She shook her head and closed her eyes. Where had her patient's mother been when her daughter had been crying and frightened out of her wits during her labor? Nobody had sat with her. Wanda had made her as comfortable as she could and held her hand throughout, but it had been a long, frightening ordeal for her. Dr. Herbert had finally done a cesarean, which had made it easier for them to keep the baby away from her. The infant was fine, though. Born healthy and squalling, APGAR scores of 9, but Wanda hadn't even been allowed to tell the young mother the vital statistics, not the birth weight, length, not even the baby's sex. The family has decided it would be best if the girl doesn't know, Dr. Herbert had said. The family, meaning the bride of Frankenstein. Wanda glanced at the grandmother, now sitting in the waiting room. Every so often she would go outside to smoke a cigarette, and when she returned, she'd pace the room or rearrange all the magazines in that nervous way she had. Wanda shook her head and glanced at her watch.